Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Rainbow Cup 3 finals. Now, we are streaming with, I think it's 4 minutes delay, just because we're live streaming from the game, so I can't interact live with the chat, but we're casting the games live, so I'm here with Farms again,
Hello, hello.
and we're gonna see something different on this game. This adaptive dark liver, which is basically a 20 by 20 dark heart version with, and there's 3 AIs on this version, which we haven't seen before. Usually we see 2 AIs. So now we have 3 AIs down in the bottom, and we're using all the different AIs this time. So we have one Uveso, one Swarm, and one RNG. So it should be interesting. Now we can see very clearly some differences between the AI. Should be fun.
Yes, I hope that the AIs are pretty balanced. Otherwise, it might become unfair to a certain team.
Yeah, true.
The two front AIs, that is.
Mm.
But I don't think, considering the water maps we've seen so far, I don't think the difference will be too big.
No.
But let's hope the AIs will do enough with their navy. That is.
Yeah. Thanks, Fergal, for the 500 bits. Kill She, it's Fergal, host of the tournament. Right, so yeah, it could be interesting. I mean, the Uveso AI we've seen is really, it just goes AFK with his navy all the time. So that's not great. I think Fergal actually made sure that the AIs get good factions here, so they have Seraphim and they have Aeon, which I think is a good choice.
Yeah, the back one is Aeon and the two front ones is Seraphim.
Yeah.
Although it is a 20-kilometer map, so I wouldn't say that being Seraphim is that much of an upgrade. I mean,
No.
of course it's good, but on a 20-kilometer map, every faction is fine on water.
Yep.
It isn't like the big edge Saragas on 10-kilometer maps.
No, yeah, if this was Dark Heart, then yeah, Seraphim would make a big difference because it's 10 by 10. But yeah, in this version, maybe not so much, but still nice to have. So on the left side, we have Wounded Elk's team with Arch and Limes. And then on the right side, we have Nexus. Nexus in the back spot, and in front of him, he's got Blood Oath and Protect. So yeah, I was talking with Swackle yesterday, which was basically, well, he's played both the teams, and he was saying that. Wait, which team did he say was better? I think he said Arch's team was just very well rounded, whereas Nexus team is just all about Nexus basically carrying the game. So
I get where he's coming from.
mm.
It's but it's kind of hard to point out. It's the classic difference where which you kind of often see at rating limit tourneys. Where if you have like under 3600, is kind of a usual rating limit in a 2v2 tourney, or at least it's commonly seen. And then you have to kind of consider what's the best rating disparity you kind of want, and it all depends on kind of the map size and also the map itself and the game you're gonna get. On 10-kilometer maps, it's easier for a low-rated player to try to draw someone, which is pretty important, I would say.
Yeah.
Especially if the high-rated player also contributes to a snipe. But that's also 2v2, that's not 3v3. So
yeah, that's what one of the things Swaka was saying is that he thinks that the left side team, Arch's team, Wounded, and Lime, they should ban 20 by 20 maps, basically, which makes a lot of sense because on the 20x20, Nexus basically has all the time he needs to do what he wants to do, and from there he can often like carry the game. Whereas on 10 by 10, he maybe has a bit less time available to him to just, you know,
It's not necessarily the case, because when I think about it, like I'm more talking from a 2v2 perspective, considering I know more about it. But just for comparison, if you have a 2v2, and would you rather have a 2400 and a 1200 in a team, or two 1800s? Like if you play on a 20-kilometer map, then the 1200 will perform so much worse than the 1800s that it just, like, before the 2400 has time to carry, the game might already be lost.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. So it can be really different. It's not an easy question to answer, and I don't really know the best way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sorry, the stream just went down there, but we're back. Hopefully it doesn't do that again. But yeah, let's see. So Nexus has Cybran. I guess he really likes the, you know, the strat. I feel like that's the reason he goes Cybran. Although on this map, there's not really any bunched mexes for him to attack with the big AoE. So maybe it's just the stealth on the other end of it.
Yes. I mean, Siren is always a solid air choice, just for the stealth. However, on a map like this, which we'll see quite some navy, T3 air is not as good as it could be. For example, I watched one of the games you casted with Swokkel yesterday. Like, I checked it out, and one of the 20-kilometer maps where Nexus just strat bombed enemy team into oblivion. Like, 20-kilometer land maps strats are really good, but on 20-kilometer navy maps they can deteriorate in value quite a bit.
Right. Yeah, some serious stream stability issues here, sadly. So yeah, just to yeah, I guess we'll just introduce the teams again once more, just in case we missed that. Nexus in the back spot, he's got a Blood Oath in front of him with Protect on the forward spots, and they're going up against the guys who knocked them into the losers bracket in the semi-finals, which is Archsimcat, Wounded Elk, who's the captain, and Limes, who's in the air spot here. So these guys won 2-1 versus Nexus team in the semi-final, knocked them into the losers bracket. So, I mean, if you're betting, you'd have to go for the left side team. They've already taken out Nexus team before this, but you know, maybe Nexus learned a few things. Maybe the map choices will favor him more this time. We'll have to wait and see.
Yes, and both of them have the exact same faction setup: two Seraphims at front and a Cybran player at the back.
Yeah.
I like Seraphim is a solid all-round choice. I'm maybe a bit sad that none of them picked UEF, simply because it's a 20-kilometer map, and battle cruisers, it's pretty likely that the game will extend long enough for battle cruisers to arrive, and they should surely be super strong.
Yeah, I agree. I'm noticing that Nexus transport is much slower than Limes.
True, and there's an inti.
There is. Oh, he's been found by Wounded. That's a very good inti from Wounded, and quite a slow transport from Nexus. And he's not gonna even make it to the first Salem wreck here on the little island.
He's gonna drop in the water.
Yeah, now he doesn't lose any engineers, which is major. But yeah, that's quite painful, because the top island now, if the left side team had a drop going to the top island, maybe Wounded will go there now. Then it could be very bad for the right side team. Bomber from Wounded as well in the base of Blood Oath. 3
engineer kills.
That was a nice bomb.
I was about to say to you that I can check the stream to match your times, but it is live, so I'm stupid.
Yes, exactly. You don't need to match it. We're all at the same time.
Anyway, what's worth pointing out is that, of course, the map isn't fully symmetrical. So the right side team actually has more maxes on the top islands, closer to them.
Oh, that's true.
However, the left team has more maxes on the bottom left island, closer to them, which means it is harder for Team Nexus to get those 7 maxes at the bottom right island, because they're close to the AI. I'm not really sure who this favors.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult. I would say it probably favors the left team, actually.
Yeah, it might do.
Because the one you're guaranteed to get, basically, is better than the one the right side team has. So probably better for the left side team. Also, there's a lot of reclaim on this map, we should say. There's tons of Salem wrecks all over the place.
Yes.
So especially in the middle island, we could see a couple ACUs there fighting it out. Blood Oath's taking a lot of reclaim, and now they're just shooting. I think you should keep reclaiming, actually.
I think what's important to notice is that aside from the reclaim, there isn't really much point in getting the mid islands.
There's not too many maxes.
Well, the issue is, even if you get this, compared to the reclaim, the maxes aren't really worth it. Also, considering most of the maxes are in a position where they can easily be killed by any navy, they are not really worth fighting over, especially not with lands. So I would say the best strategy here is to just go in, take the reclaim, and get out of there.
Yes.
And like any cruiser, most destroyers can just make sure that the enemy doesn't get any control in mid island anyway. And considering it's a 20-kilometer map with lots of reclaim, those will surely appear not too late. Although, well, I am saying that there still isn't any navy plans for any player. Oh, yeah, actually, never mind.
Arch has some navy there.
Yes.
Nobody else does, but the AI is already encroaching pretty heavily. The swarm AI especially seems to be very aggressive, just spamming Zuis across to the right side from the left,
that too.
Which is not going to be fun for Protect. And there's a lot of reclaim there. There's 3 Salem wrecks, and it's not going to be easy to get those. He needs to send his ACU down there, but he's actually going to the top because there's Blood Oath is already almost dead. He seems to have walked into maybe some Zuis, but he's definitely walked into 2 commanders. He can't even run to the water here, because if he does, he'll go back into range of wounded, and then he will definitely be dead. So Protect comes in to protect, and there's overcharges as well, which is
Protect isn't blocking the shots though. He should have moved in between the ACUs. He's gonna try to block with this ACU. But
okay, that's actually good. Now he needs to run to the water though, because now Blood Oath is out of range. Oh no, Blood Oath's walking back in. Oh, they want to.
Why?
They want to blow everyone up. Yeah, they want to.
So it's a 1v1 Nexus versus the other, and that would be great for the right side team.
Oh my god, that's brilliant. Now they're gonna draw here.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 1v1.
That is actually a terrible turn of events for the left team.
It is.
I don't know if you noticed, but Wounded Elknoop actually got control of the top side of the map, which should have been the right team's base. But now with Nexus versus Limes, a 1v1, surely the chance for Nexus and his team to win is greatly increased. Although it has to be pointed out that the Phobos have arrived on his mainland, and
oh no,
that's not very great.
Yeah, now at least he has land factories in the middle in the front island, so well, in the main base of his 2 dead comrades, he does have land factories, so he can make some units. He can defend against the Zuis soon enough. And I mean, look, it's Nexus versus Limes in a 1v1. I think even though Nexus starts from maybe a worse position because he has certainly less map control, you gotta favor him to win this from here.
Yes, for sure. Like you said, the position that he starts in is actually insanely unfavorable. I mean, he has tech to air, and actually, Limes has tech to air, and he's going for tech 3 air. I'm not exactly sure about that decision. He's making shields for his pigeons, but there's already Corsairs about to snipe the first.
The first shield is totally misplaced. it actually doesn't cover anything. And he's lost his first P-Gen. And there's going to be more Corsairs. I think Nexus is making quite a few. Well, now he's making it back to Inties, but he's got a couple more coming.
I think Limes should cancel the Tech 3 Air HQ and spam some Inties out before doing so.
Yeah. Oh, there's Zooies from the AI in Nexus main base.
Oh no! At least they're going for the factory, not the Nexus. But mass income wise, I think Limes is far ahead of Nexus simply because he basically has 2 extra bases, like the one on north and the one on the bottom left.
Yeah.
And Nexus is, it seems like he's almost going all in on air, but on a 20-kilometer map, it is with just some tech on air spam like he is doing in his base, you can pretty decently defend versus some air. Like he can lose Maxes to the Corsairs, but he has so many more Tech 1 Maxes that I don't really see the big problem with it.
Yeah, Limes has huge control. I mean, if you look at the bottom left island, he has the whole island. If you look at the bottom right island for Nexus, he has 4 Mexes out of, what, 10 or 11 or 12 or something. Also, the Navy doing some damage. He killed a T2 Mexer with frigates. And there's Zooey spam coming from the top island down to Nexus main island. So maybe this is too much for Nexus to deal with. I mean, how does he has to stabilize somehow. And it's difficult to see how.
I'd say the main way for him to win, like from the position where both ACUs and mid died, was either he goes for an ACU snipe, and managed to win like that, or slightly less good, a massive power snipe to cripple his opponent, or he just goes for hold on and try to just out macro your opponent. I'd say those were the two most realistic ideas, because as you can see, what Limes is doing now, the Phobos spam, it is very annoying, but it is very inefficient. So if Nexus properly defends against it and just keeps up Limes in terms of attacking, for example T3 air, and just manages to stabilize his position, then eventually he will make a comeback, no doubt. But with this air snipes kind of failing, they didn't really accomplish much. He now is down on T3 air. Actually, he isn't that far behind on the T3 air timing, so it's not that bad. But the Phobos are doing way too much damage.
I think the issue is like Nexus is just gonna be. I mean, he's failing to defend here against Phobos for one at the top side. That's already a bad sign. I mean, the Phobos may be mass inefficient, but there's too much for Nexus to do. Like he can't always find. I mean, for one, Limes just has so many T1 mexes that even sniping T2 mexes with air doesn't seem very effective, because just a mex across the map gets teched instead. Like down in the bottom left, Nexus doesn't even realize probably that those are T2, so he's not going to be sniping those. He's just so far behind, and he can't defend against all the attacks from every angle, it seems like.
Yes, another issue is Nexus Intis are now fighting the Intis of the AI, and that's not very great.
Oh yeah, and the enemy bombers, or his bombers, he has to defend them against the AI.
Yes, I feel like what might... Yeah, there's the Control K. That was honestly not too surprising, considering there were frigates and Phobos outside of his doorstep.
Yeah.
I'd say that instead of the Corsairs, what might have been a better choice is to build like 3 or 4 torps to just snipe the frigates. 3 were probably enough, and then some Tech 2 gunships to deal with the spam, and then go Tech 3 air and not try for the mech snipes. I think mech snipes were a bit of a fail of an idea.
Yeah, I think you're right. The Corsairs weren't the right approach. I mean, I think not having any navy hurt hugely. Like although it is 20 by 20, I mean, the Phobos still reach his island, you know. They eventually, it takes longer, but they're still very annoying when they land on your shore. And that was basically, I mean, I think Limes did the right thing. Nexus team had 0 navy, so I mean, the quickest thing you could set up basically when you get all these extra bases, just spam these factories up and just start getting the the Phobos forward. Stream looks to have lagged a little bit again.
What I'm also surprised about, I forgot who spawned at the top position of Nexus's team. But basically, his opponent managed, that was Wounded Elk, managed to rush an Inti, snipe the transfers from Nexus, then he bombed his opponent, and then he dropped Nexus's expansion at the top island. And he didn't really have anything to show for it. Like, the front players from the left team just played way better in that regard. Like, one of them built Navy, and one of them built more air, and the two from the right team, they just went for mid, but they didn't really seem to have much else.
No, yeah, Wounded Elk played quite well there. That was a good approach by him, and also I think Nexus, his transport was very late. I mean, he wasn't going to the top side until 3.5 minutes, which is very late for a transport, and had no cover with Inties. So
True.
Definitely a problem on Nexus end there. Okay, so we're just waiting for the next host. That was a very interesting interesting thing there with the ACUs. It was probably the right idea by the right side team, because I mean they're already in a bad position, so why not, try and give it all to Nexus to carry, put them in a 1v1 where that's probably their best chance to win.
I agree with the 2-for-2 trade was pretty good. I'd say that if Nexus didn't try to be aggressive, but just try to be defensive and stabilize, I think if he did that, then he would have had a decent shot at this. But
I'm surprised.
Yeah,
I'm surprised about the no Navy though. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me to not have any Navy whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't really get it yet either.
I mean, sure, from Nexus end, he's focused on other things. He doesn't necessarily need to go Navy, but the front players surely have to invest.
Yeah, for sure.
So, we'll see now what happens with the follow-up game. But that's
yeah. I also just remember that I think it was Protect that spawned at the bottom slot for Nexus' team. He built 3 factories on the mainland, and it kind of got attacked by the AI, and I think they all died to the AI. But the decision to build all those factories on the mainland, I think, was a mistake to begin with, considering aside from the reclaim, there wasn't really anything to fight over. And you can just rush and reclaim it with your ACU. Blood Oath, I think he also built like 4 Tech 1 factories in his base and just rallied Phobos to the island. And I saw the left side team also do a bit of that, but didn't really like it that much. I don't think early Phobos are that strong. I mean, 1 or 2 can make a difference because it forces the ACU to move and not reclaim, but making a lot more is...
It's a big investment.
It can be very bad.
Yeah. It can be a way to just throw a lot of mass away and damage your own eco. Did the AI help? Fergal's wondering. The AI didn't seem to have too much of an impact, but it did seem to go more towards the right team than the left team, I would say. The Swarm AI really loves to make Phobos, and those Phobos went to the right side team, and I'm fairly sure. I mean, we saw some on Nexus main island where he was losing a T2 mech there to them, and a factory.
I feel like if it's a land map, then the AIs eventually, at least in the Tech 1 stage, send some platoons of tanks to raid and to grab some map control. But on the water maps, they don't really tend to do that, at least early on. They kind of leave you alone, and they are content on having their own base to themselves.
Yep. Uh, the stability of the stream is not very good today, at all. In fact, it's very bad. But we're back again, I think. Okay. I think there's an option for them to rematch on that map, but in different spots. But I'm not sure how that's decided, or if they're just gonna do it. So we're just wait for Fergal to make the call, I guess, because I don't see a rehost just yet. But at the moment, it's 1-0 to Wounded Elk's team. Let me post the challenge. And yeah, we'll see. Doesn't seem to be anyone in the IRC chat, so I'm not sure where any talking is going on.
Yeah, I also joined and only saw you.
Yeah. I joined in.
There was another chat though, because what I noticed was I still had my client open from yesterday. I never shut down my PC, so I was still talking with a few dudes that were also in there. There were like 5 different people in there. Then I had to refav because I couldn't see any new games. And then I rejoined and I only saw you. So I'm not really sure how that works. Maybe there's another one that's named slightly different.
Maybe. I don't know exactly.
But yeah.
Well. Okay, well, I guess we just try and fill dead air. This is what casting is.
I mean, it's a bit awkward with the 4 minutes delay, isn't it?
It is, yeah, because we can't just chat with the stream.
Yeah, I did it for lots once too, when FTX asked me to host one, and it just feels weird. It feels off.
Yeah, in this case, I chose to do a delay because I don't want to wait for the games to be played to start watching them, because the live replay doesn't work for me. So it's kind of it's the best of the worst for me is the delay here. In the other days, yeah, I was just casting from replays, so I could have the delay off. But yeah, Nexus chose not to switch in replay. They have to choose 3 maps to play now. So that's interesting. I guess, I mean, I think it's fair enough. Like, the AI didn't really cause them to lose there at all, I wouldn't say. I think it was their own decisions, really, that led to the map situation.
The Phobos were a disadvantage for them, but it was not the real reason why they lost the game.
No. Right, so I think there will be a sort of map elimination now, basically, to decide what the last maps are. So they'll basically just ban down the other, 21 maps until they have, I think, 3. And basically, the format is, right, this is a double elimination tournament. So from the losers bracket, if you come from the losers bracket, then you have to win the first best of 3 final, and then there's a 1 match playoff. If for the losers to win the whole tournament, they basically have to win 3 out of 4 games here. And whereas the team for the winners bracket, if they win the first best of 3, then they're champions. So basically, the game could end in the next match, because Wounded has a 1-0 lead. If they go 2-0, they win this best of 3 final, and they'll be the champions. Nexus team basically has to win 3 in a row now. So it's really difficult to see them. It would be a great comeback if they can win this tournament.
Basically, it's a best of 5, but one team starts with the points. Isn't that literally the same?
No, is it?
I think it is.
Actually, it might be the same.
Although, I mean, it doesn't really matter how you call
Yeah.
it, but it feels easier to say it like that.
Maybe. Yeah. 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 So let's see what the next game is. So Fortet. I'm casting with farms, by the way, if people don't know, and I'm Jagged Appliance. So just in case people don't know. So let's
Also worth reminding that any sub or any donation to the channel will be the money will be put forward to future tournaments only.
Yes, exactly. FAF tournaments. Prize pool is where all the money from this channel goes. They are in a different chat there. I just got a message.
Oh, I see. We both used an underscore, and
Yeah,
it's a.
it's a dash. Yeah. Okay. Good. Thanks, Wounded. Right. So we're just waiting for basically the map picking process to complete. Then we'll hop into the game that the players host. Thanks for the follow, Sekeo and Anapherisium. So, okay, what size of map would you prefer to play as Nexus team?
That's a hard one. I is there a list of the maps?
Yeah, they're all in the thread on the first page, I believe. You
Let
can
me
see
try to
them
find.
listed. It's basically all the maps that have been played in the tourney so far.
Okay, I found them. Let me take a look. Oh, I don't know a lot of these names.
No, there's some interesting maps there that I haven't seen before.
I think I'd still rather have a 20 kilometer map as Nexus.
I think I agree.
It's like I said earlier, it's pretty hard to determine what's better for you. But I think on 10 kilometer maps, again on 10 kilometer maps, you have a chance for a draw, a higher chance that one of your weaker players draws a stronger enemy player. But yeah, like for example, I think Hilly, the Hilly game they played, I think that would be a fine map for Nexus' team because on Hilly it's also pretty decent to carry a game.
Yeah, we saw Nexus beat Bloodier's team there.
Yes,
Although Bloodier made some bad decision going for T3RT far too soon,
a
basically.
classic Bloody move.
Yeah, he made one T4 and then he was going for T3RT and yeah, it didn't end well. There was just too much stuff from Nexus. It was really Nexus did carry the game with just a lot of fat boys and Lobos and maybe a few Percys, not many.
So yeah, it's in general I'd say 20 kilometer maps are better, but it is map dependent. Um, like you saw, for example, if you had to pick either Hilly or the last map, 20 kilometer Dark Heart, I'd say Nexus' team has a higher chance on Hilly to win a game. Simply because Hilly, it isn't a very aggressive map, aside from the start in the mid when you might get an ace-2 kill. If you survive the first 5 minutes in mid, and if people just back off, especially with two AIs on the map as well, I think that it's just a high chance of Nexus carrying the game because
Yeah.
Hilly is quite an eco map, and I mean, not necessarily you crush with T3 air like on other maps, but you
No.
just out eco the enemy and then you just win with superior numbers. And a map like the Dark Heart, it's a lot more aggressive, a lot more cheesy, and maps like that, I'd say they have a smaller chance on winning.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, this stream is being very, very unhappy. It went down, then it came back up again, and then went down immediately again. Yeah, it's very annoying.
So when will you move to a first world country?
I don't know. Someday. Someday. Yeah, people are saying maybe you should host the stream instead. Do you have the logins?
I mean, I have to ask FTX for the password, not for the password, but for the, security check anyway, right?
Yeah. Or
But
you could stream to a stream key.
oh, that's not how we did it. He just gave me the password and stuff because he couldn't find out how stream keys worked.
Okay, well, you could probably
Anyway,
figure it out, but we might be okay now.
I mean, maybe if it's once more, it's just annoying because there's still the delay, and
yeah,
I guess it might work out.
I think the way it's set up is that we don't actually miss anything. Like the stream will drop and it'll come back at the point where it dropped. At least that's how I understood it was set up from the settings I had. Maybe people can confirm whether that's true or not. Fergal says there's 10 maps left. So they're still banning some maps.
They're banning 7 more, I guess.
So let's see. Protect says we pick settings. Okay, interesting. Oh, the stream goes down again.
Oh god.
Yeah, this is quite bad
should
now.
Should I do the hosting or?
Yeah, maybe if you can get the details off FTX, if that's possible. If not, I can try and get you a stream key.
FTX is offline on Discord.
Okay.
How does stream key work?
I think I can.
I have no idea.
If you send me your email, I think I can just basically put your email in here and you'll get an email from Twitch.
Okay, wait.
If I...
Really, it's...
Oops. I have to find where I can do this here. Exactly. How do I do this? Okay. Okay, I'll try this. And it has to be the email that you use for Twitch as well.
Oh fuck! I have no idea.
I'll see. I'll see if it works.
Oh, it's this one. It's this one.
Oh, well, that worked. So that means, yeah.
So I just log in on my own account and then you post a stream key somewhere? I don't really know how it works.
It should. You should have an email from Twitch, I think.
I know, it just says you can use this stream key, but I don't know where to use it.
You put it into your Streamlabs in. Let me see. Wait, how do you do it on Streamlabs? I'm normally not using Streamlabs, so that's the issue here.
Let's see.
So.
Why Streamlabs? We are unable to log you in at this time. Please try again in a few minutes.
Okay, I actually don't see where to input a stream key on Streamlabs. I mean, I know exactly. I use Stream Elements usually, and it's right there to just put in stream key somewhere. But I don't see it on this program.
Let me try to find it myself.
Okay, so the maps. In the meantime, we have Adaptive Turtle Beach, Waters of Crater, Adaptive Uncanus, Adaptive Ivy Valleys, Twin Rivers, Africa, Algon, Abyssium, Fields of Great Phoenix, and Canis Revenge. What is Canis Revenge? But yeah, we'll see. If Arch team wins the next game, they win the tourney. That's correct. Both the teams are basically trying to decide what map they really have a good chance on. Anaphorism, oh, thanks for following, and Mr. Mabachi. Stream has been fine for the past few minutes, so we can probably stick it out. Oops.
Okay. I think I found out where to do it anyway, so if it goes wrong, we can switch if it's needed. But I can't actually test it until actually do it, so...
Yeah, well, maybe we can just continue as is.
Yeah, let's just continue like this.
I'm trying to do
unless it really goes bad.
Yeah.
Don't want to be forced to pause my music anyway.
Trying to do the match text and then okay, there we go. Haven't done this before, but now we actually have time to input this important data. And yeah, the map choosing is obviously a major decision to make, so the teams are taking their time, trying to figure out where they have advantage. I think it's going to be really difficult to actually figure that out, though, right? Like how do you come to the decision where, oh yeah, this one? I mean, they basically, I think they'll have to go off previous experience in the tournament. Basically, how easily did we win on a certain map? You know, something like that. How good did we feel on a certain map? That's
True.
kind of how you have to decide, because a lot of these maps they've probably never played before. I haven't seen them before. You have basically this tournament in terms of experience on a lot of them. So yeah.
So, oh wait, Fargo posted in Rainbow Tourney what maps are left. Let me actually see.
Yeah, they're just banning and banning down to until they have, I think three maps.
Okay, so I was about to. Selkie isn't left, and I was about to say that for Nexus's team, Selkie would be a pretty good pick. Because Selkie is a map that's not a lot of people play, except for quite a lot of high-rated players.
Yeah.
It's a map that's mostly and I know that Nexus has played quite a bit of it. The other players, I'm not too sure of it. But it's a map where experience really shows.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you, especially just abusing the features of the map, like the trees, basically.
I also just noticed
Yeah.
every single 20-kilometer map, aside from Adaptive Turtle Beach, isn't available for pick anymore.
Okay. Maybe they were listening to Swaka yesterday. Swaka was saying they should just Arch should ban all the 20x20s or Wounded. Keep saying Arch as though Arch is the captain, but it's actually Wounded Elk is the captain. And Limes has the highest rating. So
yeah, there isn't a clear leader in
no,
in the team.
they're all quite even.
Yes,
And it's a good mix to have, one team game player, two ladder players. I think that's a solid mix
yeah.
of roles.
Although, I mean, it depends really. I mean, 3v3 is, I'd say, more team game focused than ladder focused.
Sure,
It's quite different. So
I
I
agree.
think I would rather have two team game players.
Yeah, yeah.
But I guess Nexus also really isn't. But it doesn't really matter. Like someone that's as strong as Nexus, even though he isn't really a team game player, he's still like one
Yeah,
of the best team game players there is. So
yeah. At that point, I don't think it doesn't matter as much whether you're team game player or not. Like once you get to that level, it's like, well,
at some
you just know
points,
how to play the game. Like
yeah, they start to overlap.
yeah,
Where it's like, sure, you do. I mean, I guess the best example of it is kind of, I think Bloodder. The difference between Bloodder and Nexus is a pretty good example. Like, they're both super strong in ladder, but I'd say that Nexus performs a lot better in team games than Bloodder does,
yeah,
because mainly it feels like Bloodder doesn't really have the right idea of what strategy to go for, as you can see with his Tech 3 arties.
yeah. Well, I don't know. It's funny because Bloodier started as a team game player, and
I know he did.
was and I
Yeah.
remember like he would just before he played ladder he would just play team games and got to a really high rating, and he would basically just carry the games by just abusing obviously T3 air especially, or certain other strategies just to abuse the other team quickly at a T3 stage. But now I don't know, maybe he's definitely less I don't know, less
I'm
abusive in team games. He's more chill and like doesn't want to do too much, and then maybe makes an incorrect decision at some point
I
compared to
mean, in
someone like
team
Nexus.
games, it's a bit odd because you can play it in multiple ways. You can play it in in a way where you just counter your opponent and you just outplay your direct opponent, or there's the way where you try to influence the game overall,
Mm.
while not directly winning versus your opponents. And there's like the safe and aggressive plays, and sometimes one works better with the other strategy. It's a bit it is not always clear what is better to do, and
Yeah.
it also depends on how strong your opponent is, of course. And
It can be. I don't know. Team games have the potential to be really deep and complicated. Like I feel like they do if with a lot of team play,
yeah, it's true. But
but usually it doesn't happen. I mean, a lot of the time, things. Yeah, I mean, people are.
I,
It's hard to be aware of what like six players are doing at once, basically. You know, without voice communication or a lot of chat communication, basically.
I mean, you saw it in the clan war tourney of 1 year or 1.5 year ago, right
Mm.
now,
Yeah.
where I mean, the level of the team games was a lot higher than you would see in an average team game, simply because like you have a strategy, you're in voice, you want to win. People show up with a lot more effort
Yeah.
put into it.
Yeah, there were some fun games there. And yeah, definitely a higher level. People had a plan going into the game. Like they know that's probably a major factor. Like if you know what the goal is already before you start, you're not just making it up on the fly. Then you know you can just focus on execution, and you don't have to waste brain power thinking, "Oh, what should I do here?" You know, and you give yourself the 30 seconds at the start before the factory is finished to come up with a plan.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what you said about in, in 3v3s and higher, when there's too many people to really pay attention to everybody, I think it's kind of important thing to say, because usually when I'm in those 2K plus 3v3 team games with it's quite strong opponents, I tend to get out ecoed almost every game. uh, but my playstyle is just to be usually be aggressive and just demand attention.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
often in those kind of games, it gives my team more time to, you
yeah,
know, win their side, I guess.
yeah. I think that's what helped a lot in our 2v2 tourney. Was it
Yeah,
was a great combo basically where you were just
yeah,
super annoying in a lot of games,
that's
and
my fab life.
you were just so annoying to the opponents, and I could basically just sit there and chill for the game, and then it's like, oh, now I have
and,
insane eco because I didn't have to worry about the
and at
other
that point,
team.
I had to beg for mass because I had no eco.
Yeah, but then at that point, I mean, I have more than enough to just give you mass and still, have much better eco. So that kind of synergy is really really strong. But
Yes, that's
usually, but a lot in if you play a random 2v2 and you're not communicating with your teammate and stuff, it's probably just going to turn into two 1v1s a lot of the time. That's
yes.
what I found in TMM games. If people aren't communicating, or then it's two 1v1s, and it's like, oh, my teammate lost before I won, or it's fairly bland, you know.
Yeah, although again, it depends a bit on the map.
It does, yeah,
Al-
sure.
Also, this reminds me of why I have pretty good synergy with FTX. uh,
Yeah.
he's he's like you, but a bit worse. Uh, he just seals and cheats. What?
The
And
sales and chits, yeah.
I I chills and sits and just ecos in the corner. Well, I annoy opponents, and then just makes it T4.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice, nice words I invented there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I think we're getting close to a game starting. This map selection process has been lengthy, we'll say.
To say the least. It's
People thought
been
it's I don't know how many
20,
20, yeah.
at least 20 minutes, because 20 minutes ago we joined the IRC channel, but that was only after probably 10 minutes of our DE rating.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, people are commenting on how patient FAF players are. They are quite patient. Mine's slightly running out, but you know we're okay.
This is where you keep the professional work environment.
This is a very unprofessional gap in the stream that we're having to just fill with nonsense.
My strong point.
Yeah, we're making it happen. We were used to waiting for for lobbies to fill, and just have to talk shit.
You should engage the audience by playing some bullets on stream.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually played a lot of bullets recently.
Oh really? Time to check them out.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not great. But yeah, some blitz as well. Trying to improve again. I was stopped playing chess for a long time there, but now I'm back.
Yeah, same thing for me. Then I came back and I lost 250 bullet rating.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, bullet is...
You have to play hundreds of them in order to gain some rating.
I mean, I think I played like 50 in a day there a few days ago. It was a bit much.
Yeah, I see.
But the blitz is going better.
You haven't seen... that's more important, for sure. Having a higher blitz rating is a better indication of skill than higher bullet rating.
Yeah, the bullet rating is more about how to play bullet specifically, you know, like.
And it's also about how quick are you with your mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. The game is up, by the way.
Ah, okay.
I remember a few days when, like, 2 years ago or 1.5 years ago, when both Black Eyes and me had 50 bullets games for like 2 weeks in a row each day. 50 bullet games.
That's a lot.
Yeah. It was a lot.
Yeah. Damn, and I guess you gained a lot of rating then.
Yes, because you just know when you can pre-move and be quick. And now I unlearned it all, so I'm back to 2K rating.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Epic Cyanide, for following. Right, so we don't need to play some bullet, I guess, at this point. I don't think bullet is not very interesting, I think, for people to watch either. It's kind of hard to understand.
So the map we got is the only 20-kilometer map left, Adaptive Turtle Beach, which is not a big surprise, I would say. I think this was Nexus's pick, or am I wrong? Or Nexus team's pick?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure at this point, but yeah, we did see this map, and we saw. I don't know if were you casting at the time.
No, but no. I watched a bit of the game that happens here.
Yeah, so where you choose to put the players is super important here. So basically, you have like 5 potential slots. There's a lot of reclaim in the middle. And what we saw from, say, Arch's team was Arch went to the back spot and immediately went to kill the AI with Zui's and his commander.
I see.
And his opponents didn't. So he was able to kill him very quickly. He basically left his base after a factory and maybe a couple of other structures, maybe a couple of mexes, or I don't think he built a hydro at least. So it was really a rush, and that enabled them. And then they also had, I think, they managed to get all the rest of the bases on their side, and that seemed to work very well. The other team couldn't get even close to that much map control. So that might be the approach taken. I think you need a guy in the front spot to go for the mid reclaim. And then if you have a guy in the back spot to go after the AI, then the other guy, I'm not sure where exactly you should go, left or right, but probably not in the
The
middle.
the AIs were in fixed positions, were they not?
Yeah, they're in the corners.
Okay. Otherwise, you could just place them in between three players there.
Yeah, no, I think they're
Yeah.
fixed here on this map.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so it's a bit of a weird setup from.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they have the setup because I don't. Not everyone's in the game yet, so I'm not sure if they actually are in the
Oh,
spots.
true. They might have just randomly joined.
Yeah, I think so at this point because Arch definitely. I think they're going to repeat the same strategy. I don't see why they wouldn't because they did win that game and it seemed to be a good strategy. So now we just wait for who are we waiting on?
Bloodbath, he just joined. Blood Oath, not Bath.
Yeah, Blood Oath is here, so there now people are going to choose their spots, I guess, and we're going to get started. Fergal is in the lobby to make sure the settings are correct, and because there was a lot of incorrect settings in this tournament, but yeah, not for the finals. Everything's been in order. The stream hasn't gone down recently, so that's good too. And yeah, so as you can see, some rearrangement and people have X'd up. So actually, it looks like they are going for a mirror setup.
That's true. It's. I mean, it's not literally a mirror, but it's close enough to count as a mirror, I'd say.
Yeah, sure, you're right there.
But I mean, I understand it's not super obvious. You can have a player in the back spot going to rush to kill the AI.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you have two players in the front spots, you can move two SUs to mid. And if your opponent doesn't do it, you basically guarantee the mid reclaim almost. Kind of like Saturn's having an extra SU in mid at the start. It can be very good. But if you have a player in the back spot going to rush and kill the AI, it means that player won't have early air to assist the front players. If you, instead of that, have the player on one of the side slots and rush some early air to try and snipe an ACU, yes, you won't kill the AI, but you can kill an enemy player, and if the enemy back player kills their AI, maybe you can go for a quick victory without having to deal with your back AI at all. So there's decisions like this you can maybe try to make.
Now, what's happening here is basically the players are switching spots because they have variable positions. They can choose which 3 of the 5 spots they can go in. So one team switches, then the other team reacts and switches again. And then this just is continually happening. And something has to be done to make this end because this will go on forever.
That's why you sometimes can just do like each team has like one player in one spot, and like you lock him in, and then you do the next player from the other team, and then you just can just repeat it like that.
Yeah.
Although then you have to decide which team gets to pick first or gets locked in first.
Whoever gets the second pick is in control basically.
Yes.
So you can decide to mirror or abuse by picking a different spot. So I think Nexus team is basically just reacting to whatever the left side or the bottom team does and just mirroring their spots, which is
I wouldn't say
boring.
it's necessary for something like that. Like in this, if it's not symmetrical, for example, in this case, if you have like a line from front to back, like they have right now, but if one of the teams instead of the back slot has one of the players on the side slot, again, you can deal with AI less good, but you have some early aggressive air options that you might abuse. It's not.
Okay, it looks like this is the setup it's gonna be. everyone in the center of the map, nobody in the side portions of the island. Arch at the back, I expect him to go after his AI. This is the Swarm AI. We've seen that the Swarm one, you know, in fitting its name, is aggressive, makes early units, at least earlier than other AIs. So you will have to deal with, Zooies probably. Yeah, every single player and AI on this map is Seraphim now. So this should be interesting. A lot is going to hinge on the middle. Are people going to leave immediately after the first factory? Is somebody going to build some extra stuff before they go in the front spot? That could be important. I'm sure Nexus is going to be heading to middle, and so is Wounded. Pretty quick, but not as quick. They're probably going to be making air. And then will Blood Oath my question is, will Blood Oath do what Arch is planning to do? Or what I'm sure Arch is planning to do. Will Blood Oath mirror that and go after the AI immediately?
Yes, there's. It's quite interesting to see what the mind games will be, or are planned.
Yeah, I mean
we
already saw the mind games where they just switched.
Yeah, exactly.
In the spot choosing, the map selection took 20 to 30 minutes. So yeah, these guys are taking it quite seriously. The first prize is $660, right? So that's $120 each. So definitely a lot to play for. Second prize is $330, I believe.
360.
Oh, 360, right. So it's $220 a piece, $220 a piece for first, $120 a piece for second. You get a unique avatar for first, and you get a regular avatar of your choosing for second.
Yes, indeed. So there's $100 per person. I mean, I guess it's only $100 for Nexus team. The other team can still afford to lose a match.
Yeah,
or
true. Exactly. This is basically, it's sudden death for Nexus. So Nexus team has to win 3 on the trot here, 3 in a row. Wounded needs 1 win. This is all. 1 win is all he needs to take this tournament. Nexus needs 3 in a row.
Yes. Also, I'd like to say that there isn't as much mass in mid as I thought there would be. However, there are still quite some Nexus, so it's still obviously worth it to have massive Tech 1 spam to mid at the start. The front players have a very easy job this game. It's very simple. You go to mid, you spam Tech 1 units, and you try to win. It's mostly that the middle and back player have some complications to do. Like, their decision making will be super important in this game.
Yes. So the map, I mean, this middle, at its narrowest, it's quite narrow, the middle choke point. But I mean, once you get past that, it is actually pretty open. There's some terrain blocking, but you can kind of, if you can get units to the left and right part of the island, could be very difficult to keep a lot of the mexes there safe from raiding. So yeah, T1 spam from the front is going to be important to do some damage and defend.
I actually like the mountains. It makes for nice raids down the sides that are harder to stop. And of course, both mid players just Seraphim, so you can also send some Phobos to the sides at some point.
Yep. Now, if we look at the bottom left, we can see Arch is already here with Zooies. Now, he does not. His opponent is on the far side of the map, is a bit slower, but is approaching the game the same way. But being slower, actually quite a bit slower, might actually be very painful for him. Actually, I think the sooner you get here, the easier it's going to be by far.
Yeah, especially because the AI has that build speed modifier.
Yeah, the AIs are at 1.5 modifier. That means everything has 1.5 times build power, 1.5 times like resource generation. So yeah, they build things a lot faster. Things come out of the factories 50% quicker. And yeah, Arch is already in there, and it's quite easy to kill the ACUs, honestly. They don't really dodge too well. So with Zui's, he can take out this AI. But you can see it's gonna set him back hugely in terms of early game expansion. He has 2 factories at the moment. Third factory is not even on the cards yet. So until he deals with the AI, he's gonna be sort of out of the game in terms of the other players on the map.
Also, funnily enough, I just noticed there's no non-Seraphim in this game. There's only Seras.
Yes. Only Seraphim.
I'm not sure I really like it, mainly because the middle player positions for Nexus and Wounded Elk, they can be something different than Sarah.
Yeah.
And
I think
considering
so.
You already have 2 Sarahs, there's not really a reason to go Sarah yourself either. Unless you try some very specific Seraphim abuse as the mid player, like some Phobo drops or some Notas maybe, but
yeah, that's what came to mind.
If that's not planned, then I don't really see any reason to pick Seraphim in those slots.
Yeah. Okay, well the bottom left AI is quite low now. Arch has also lost a lot of HP, but I don't think he's going to be drawing at least. But the AI is actually doing pretty well. It's killing Phobos. It's actually dodging at the moment pretty well.
Yes.
Maybe he could
Arch
abuse
has
it.
a vet though, so...
Right, that's good.
Even though... So, he has more HP than it looks.
Okay, we got 4 ACUs in middle now. Protect has actually got into the water. He's quite low on HP. Wounded's full HP. Limes has lost some, but not as much as his direct opponent. And Nexus is also here on full HP. But
and at the top right, Bloodbath actually getting pushed back by the Swarm issue.
Yes,
so
he is.
The attack doesn't seem to be working at all.
So this is a major issue. This is what we were talking about earlier, that the timing is really important. And Arch, we saw, went immediately, basically as fast as he possibly could. Blood Oath was maybe a minute slower, I would say, getting to the island. And at that point, there's already many
<gasps>
bombers for the ACU, for the AI.
I see a massive difference. The bottom left AI went for attack to air HQ. It cancelled upon the death, but it was like 99%. And meanwhile, the top right AI is spamming bombers, and they did quite some damage to Bloodhound's HQ.
Yeah.
The bombers were dealt with by Nexus's air, but that shouldn't be enough.
He doesn't have enough. He doesn't have enough HP anymore. But look in the middle. Looks like Limes is going to go down. Protect is just tracking him, and he's not going to let him get out of range. Limes is going to go down here. Wounded is going to take potentially the damage from both ACUs exploding, because Protect he's going to draw.
Yeah.
And that now Nexus, you can see moving away from the ACU explosions. Wounded is going to be under 5k.
Oh no!
Wounded goes down as well. And Nexus
Jesus.
survives with plenty of HP. And now we're left with Nexus and Blood Oath versus Arch.
That's a very... I think that shouldn't have happened. I like for sure Wounded should have lived, but only with a sliver of HP. But he had 6k left, and I think he took way too many Phobo shots. He didn't dodge well enough.
Yeah, he did.
And the moment that Protect got below 2500 HP, Bloodhound should have Controcate there. Not Bloodhound, I mean Limes.
Yeah, to prevent more damage to Wounded, which then brought him under 5k.
I think if he played well, then he could have survived for sure. With little HP, so there's a decent chance that he would have gotten air sniped, but it's still better than just dying like this. And now, there's still... If you don't count in the players, there's an advantage for the bottom team again, just like last game. But you know, there's this time Nexus and Bloodhound lives, And even if they haven't dealt with the AI, it will probably make life a lot easier.
Yeah, this is gonna be quite difficult for. I don't have the right overlay on. It's gonna be quite difficult for Arch to win this, but he definitely does have a better position, just in terms of map control. I mean, you can see he can take the whole bottom island. There's not much reclaim left by the AI, obviously, because it was killed so quickly, but looks like air will be a problem at the moment. Nexus has air control. Nexus also dropping islands on the right-hand side, which is nice. There are those islands way out on the edge of the map, which have... I mean, there's a decent few mexes to take.
Yes, and this is the main thing. If you're in a 2v1 situation, especially on a 20-kilometer map like this, as the team with the 2 players, you have time like this to drop the islands, and as the 1 player, you don't really have time to afford trying to get those islands. It's you need to pay that attention on more important things like micromanaging your bases, ecoing, teching up.
Yes.
And so it's perfect that Nexus drops there. Interestingly enough, he dropped an engineer and 2 tanks, expecting them to have already dropped it. But yeah.
Oh, actually, there is a dead transport there. What? Oh, that might be just part of the map, actually.
Yeah, it is. It's on the left side of the map. So.
All right. Yeah. So Blood Oath. I mean, he's not able to kill the AI at this point. He should probably give up on that.
But he has frigates farming the Phobos, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good idea. He should basically just try and contain, I think, the AI, and maybe focus on his own economy. Nexus is going to have to deal with a supercharged Arch with 5 bases, basically, or more. Just so many mexes available to him.
Nexus is building Notas at the moment. I'm not exactly sure what the intention is, because both the AI at the back of his base and Arch have more intis.
Yeah. Yeah, the AI being quite annoying with its air over the top team. I think what should Arch be aiming to do right now?
Funnily enough, oh no, he stopped. If he would engage the indies from Arch with his Notas, because Notas are pretty good with anti-air, and then the AI was chasing the Notas, so if he would just suicide the Notas and then force the AI to engage the air from Arch, it would have been pretty funny.
Yeah.
But sadly it isn't working out, and now he's getting air camped at his base. Well, he lost the Notas at front, and now there's Tech 2 gunships from Arch as well.
Yeah, they're quite nice. I mean, he needs to start attacking the extremities of the map, start attacking the left side and the right side of Nexus economy. Go after some T2 mexes that are upgraded there, but he looks to be very committed to the front, and it's only Zuis he has against tanks. He's got Zuis, but he's also got air support, so in combination they seem to be crushing it, in fact. Nexus can't keep retreating because this HQ is about to die here. It's been pinged now, and the Zuis are going to focus on it, and the ACU of Nexus is under attack by 3 Voltus, so he can't protect everything at once.
And the HQ will surely fall here.
It will die in seconds. There it goes. Oh, wait. No, they've stopped firing. Okay, there they go. And a T2 Mex next to it. Nexus under attack. Under 5k. There's no help coming for his commander. None at all. Unless the AI comes in with a massive swarm of Intis.
It will be too late already. Nexus will surely die here.
He is doomed. I mean, 6 Voltus is a huge amount of Voltus. Like, they're expensive units, and they do so much damage, and at the same time as he's dying, his base is dying as well, so that was just a crushing attack from Arch.
I don't really understand how this happens. I think one of the issues is that Bloodhouse just didn't really do anything. Like, his attack on the AI failed, but after that he just continued to eco up. You see he's capping his Tech 2 Maxes in his base. But aside from that, like, he didn't really build any air or do much else. And meanwhile Arch went all in on Tech 1 spam and air spam to the middle of the map. He didn't eco at all. He has no tech to Nexus that he made, I think, after his two teammates died. He just spammed a lot of Tech 1 air fac and Tech 1 land facs and just
Yeah,
sending it all to mid.
yeah, I think Arch played really well.
Yes.
I think he did really well. I mean, first his approach, which we saw him do early in the tournament, he did it again, probably even better this time. Just executed perfectly. And once he got all the bases, he was straight to action. You can see he's not ecoing. He's just focusing on just crushing fast, using the advantage he has now because he had the map control. You don't need to upgrade mechs on this map, basically, to get a lot of higher tech units on the field quickly because you just have so many mexes.
Yes, I'd say the ecoing from Nexus and Bloodout was definitely a mistake.
Yeah.
From Nexus, yeah, his direct opponent also only has one Tech 2 max. Not his direct opponent. Enemy mid player has one Tech 2 max there, and Nexus' direct opponent had how many? 3 Tech 2 maxes. I mean, one is 95% in past, so I guess we say 4. And I think top team in total had 10 to 15 Tech 2 maxes or something similar.
Yeah.
So they definitely over-egoed, and especially on a map like this, I don't really understand. If you're in a 2v1 situation, you just have to play defensive at some point, because as long as none of you dies, you will eventually have the advantage in the long game. And it's pretty common if both your teammates dies and there's only you left, you have two general ideas. Either you go all in on the push and you try to snap ACUs with it, or you try to crush some bases, or you go defensive mode, you try to eco and stack up, and you just as one big economy you try to out eco the other sides of the team. But Nexus should know that he and Bloodout would have easily out-ecoed Arch if it would be like a static game, because it's Nexus. He should out-eco almost everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't really see the use of taking the risk of
trying
this match.
to get ahead early on. I think really, yeah, it was a mistake. He didn't really read the game correctly, because at the point where they died, where 3 ACUs exploded in middle, Arch basically already had all the bases. Like his map control was already complete. He didn't have to worry about expanding, finishing off an AI, or he didn't have to worry about anything basically except taking control of the bases, getting them, building something useful. And you can see what he did. Basically, he has an HQ in that is Wounded's base. He has Seraphim Air HQ. He has a couple of P-gens next to it, and quite a few engineers. Then in his own base, he just has a lot of NGs assisting T2 Air Support Factory. And then in the front, it's just extra air factories, but mainly it's about the Zooey spam and also, again, more air production. So he just switched his base immediately into an aggressive mode, got a few naval factories as well, and just decided to attack. And I mean, it's difficult to defend on this map.
Yes, for sure, especially for Seraphim.
Yeah, it's very spread out. T2 air options for Seraphim are really strong. The Vol2 is very strong. Their T1 bomber is good. You could see quite a few T1 bombers going around the place, and also even Nothas, although they weren't really used, are also a strong option. So it was just it was the correct approach from Arch, and the other team did not prepare themselves for that at all, really.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. It was a good strategy, and again, kind of, I wouldn't really say lackluster approach is the right word for the top team, but it feels like they didn't really have an idea or a strategy. At least not after the explosions in mid. It feels like they just wanted to eco up and then just to win the late game, but
yeah,
especially on a map like this, I feel like it's not really the right move to do.
Yeah, it was like they had the idea they took the opportunity basically to trade 2-for-1. They're like, okay, yeah, we'll get the trade 2-for-1. I'm sure that probably somebody encouraged Protect to go in after the 2v1, maybe, or maybe he just did that on his own, and that's
I mean,
fine.
it was definitely a good move. So.
Yeah, that's fine, but beyond that, there is no like, okay, now that once that happens, then we need to do XYZ. There didn't seem to be a clear idea of what they need to do. Like Nexus, it's there. He has T2 mexes, he has T2 land. He doesn't have air production really, except some of what was left to him by a teammate. And Blood Oath at the back, his initial strategy failed, and from then he was not really didn't really have an impact on the game.
Yeah, I think it's at the end of the day, it's simply just over-egoing that's caused the damage that happens.
And I think this kind of also, I think Arch is good in this kind of scenario. I think this actually suits him. And we also saw Limes also did, basically he had a similar approach in the previous game, didn't he? So we saw both games kind of go in the similar way, where a lot of ACUs explode, and people are like, and the team with Nexus on is like, okay, now that we've blown up half the other team, Nexus can maybe carry with his superior play. But because the players on the other team are all they're all strong players, that you can't really, they couldn't get into a situation where Nexus has a massive advantage over the other player in terms of skill.
Yes,
like he's better, but not, he's not the 700 points better that it might say on the rating on the right hand side.
Although I would say that Arch is probably the best player to have been left scenario on the bottom team.
I agree. For sure, yeah. He definitely he likes this kind of scenario, I think. Thanks Mighty Scoop for the Prime, and thanks Hasu for the 100 bits. All, as we said before, all the donations and all the money generated by this channel will go back into tournaments on FAF, into prize pools for tournaments. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, it is 2-0. Wounded Elk's team wins the final 2-0, beating Nexus team once again. They beat them in the semi-final 2-1, and this time they improved on their score, got a 2-0 clean victory with a lot of ACU explosions in the middle of 20 by 20 maps. It's madness, really. But that was a really great tourney. It was, I mean, there's obviously pretty, I mean, it's just a wild tourney, really. The settings are crazy, the AI's involvement. You can see like how the AI interacted with the game here was really vital in this final game, for example. Like the fact that Arch takes him out, takes a huge base quickly. Blood Oath fails in the other end, and that's probably the most key factor in the match. But yeah, that is all the games, guys. That's 2-0 to Wounded, and I guess we'll end it there. Big thanks to Fergal, the host of the tourney, the sponsor of the prize pool for the tourney, creator of all these wild settings, and chooser of maps and mods that we used.
Also, thanks for the people developing the AIs.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of work put into these AIs.
The tourney wouldn't have existed without them.
Yeah.
I mean, it might have, but it
wouldn't have been half as interesting.
Yes.
The AI would just be a non-entity, basically. But you can see, I mean, we saw in certain games where maybe the settings weren't exactly what they were supposed to be. For example, a Selkie game with Wounded's team, and who were they up against? I'm trying to think. But that was that was brutal. The AI just crushed everyone, and it was basically, it turned into survival mode, which was quite fun to watch. We saw Nexus die to an AI on Canis. That's a moment that will live on in FA history.
Definitely in Jack's mind.
Yes, in my mind anyway. I'll keep reminding people. It's too funny. And yeah, great tourney, a lot of fun. Thanks for a lot of work. You know, a lot of people involved in making it happen. So, thanks to everyone. Also to Dragon who helped hosting the tourney and also helped me with some settings and stuff. And also, yeah, he's the creator of the Supreme Commander Total Annihilation mod. So go check that out as well. There will be a match on Friday, a show match on Friday with Total Annihilation. Gameplay in Supreme Commander should be fun. And yeah, that's it. So thanks everyone for watching, and follow the channel and catch up on more official FAF tournaments in the future. Spring Invitational will be coming up, and the Spring Qualifier, which is a very prestigious 1v1 tournament hosted by Swackle, so that'll probably be the next thing on the channel. And yeah, I'll see you guys then.
Goodbye.
Okay.